Now next we are going to deal with the role of micronutrients, in which we take each micronutrient individually, what is its role in the plant growth and development, and what if that nutrient is deficient, the deficiency symptoms a particular plant would show, that we are going to study. So you know that there are 16 in total nutrients which are required, mineral elements, by the plant, out of which 9 were under the macronutrients. And when we study micronutrients, the one most important micronutrient is iron. Rest, see, iron, boron, manganese, copper, zinc, molybdenum, chlorine and nickel, these micronutrients need to be present in the plant. They need to be available in the soil for the plant, so that plant can conduct its vital activities in the presence of these micronutrients. So first we are going to take iron. It is absorbed in the form of ferric ions, alright, from the soil. And how much that ferric ions are going to be taken up from the soil, that depends on the pH of the soil. That in the acidic soil, supposedly the pH is lower in a soil, the uptake of ferric ions would be greater, okay. So the pH of soil somehow regulates the absorption of iron in the form of ferric ions. And what if this ferric ion is not present? It is going to show the symptoms, and the deficiency symptoms would depend upon the various functions that this ion is performing. So let's see what are the functions that it performs. You have heard about the things like cytochromes and ferrodoxin. These things are very important in electron transport system. I must tell you one thing, that whatever energy is being generated in the process of photosynthesis and the process of respiration, where we take up the energy, it is possible because an electron deficient molecule is being formed, and the electron jumps from one molecule to the other molecule, which we call as electron receptor. So this electron transport system in both photosynthesis and respiration cannot be completed if there are not present the molecules which are derived from iron. Means iron plays an important role in all those electron acceptors which are present in photosynthesis and respiration for the electron transport system, or we call it electron transport chain. Then we have, what if this electron transport system and rest of the ionic compounds, iron derived from iron, what if they are not present? First thing that we are going to observe is that the plant leaves would show chlorosis, and the chlorosis would be seen in younger leaves. Alright. Now the point of learning is, from your knowledge of the macronutrients and micronutrients, what you need to learn is which macronutrient or the micronutrient, collectively the elements. The element is showing its deficiency symptom of chlorosis or necrosis, whether in young leaves or in older leaves. That is the one point of learning that you need to learn properly individually, which element has what role in the younger and the older leaves. Okay. Then next is, it inhibits chloroplast formation. Now why this chlorosis has occurred? Because the chloroplast formation would be inhibited if the iron's required amount is not taken up by the plant. And last one is that there would be intervenal chlorotic spots. Supposedly this is the leaf. Okay. There would be quite clear reticulate venation that would be observed. And intervenal, over here you would find yellowish spots. Yet again this would be observed in the younger leaves only. I am not able to explain it completely over here. Just try to understand it from the color difference. Supposedly this is the midrib and these are the veins, which shows further reticulate venations. Just to give you an understanding, I am making it. What you would find is that there would be chlorotic spots. Now over here I am using black color, but in case of a real leaf you would find these yellowish spots, while the rest of the leaf would be green in color. So this is what is the role of iron that you need to remember, and what are the deficiency symptoms if the plant is not able to take up the required amount of ferric ions from the soil. Now the next important micronutrient is boron. How is it absorbed? It is available as borate ions in the soil. It would be taken up in the form of borate ions. At times it is also taken up in the form of tetraborate. So tetraborate would be like this. These two ionic forms it would be available in these two ionic forms to the plant. And what would define or what would determine how much these ions are available to the plant? Again, it would be pH of the soil. But unlike in the case of iron, where acidic soil enabled more absorption, over here when the pH rises, that means pH becomes more basic, then the availability of the boron would be more to the plants. Now let us see what function this boron performs. First of all, before we get into these, you need to remember that it has a very important role in pollen germination. Okay? The formation of pollen tube, which enables the entry, formation of pollen tube, I am repeating, which enables the entry of the pollen grains, male gametes, into the female flower, is not completed if boron is deficient. Alright, so boron plays an important role in the pollen germination by forming the pollen tube basically. Now coming to other functions, it regulates regeneration, it regulates fruiting. Now over here fruiting, I mean to say that ovary would be changing to a fruit. It regulates cell division. So somehow these points indicate that if the deficiency symptoms are going to show, they would be seen in the meristematic region, and that is what we say that deformed and discolored meristems are formed if boron is deficient in a given soil and if it is not available to the plant. Then there is the point of translocation of sugars within the plant. Whatever sugars are being formed, sucrose, that would be translocated to the other points with the agency of borate ions. It regulates the water relations as well as the fat metabolism that takes place inside the plant. And one very important point of boron is that it regulates the carbohydrate metabolism, which is very important when the pentose phosphate pathway has to take place. So please remember this, that boron is very important regulatory ion or regulatory mineral for pentose phosphate pathway. Now because it is playing again a very crucial role, as we can see, in the meristematic region, in the development region and in the growth processes. So you are going to see meristems which would be disformed. You are going to find that abscission of flowers and fruits would be promoted in case the boron deficient soil is given to the plant. Okay, then there is curling and twisting of the leaves. Again, these leaves, because it is confined to the meristems, it would be in the younger leaves. So these are the deficiency symptoms, the lower ones, which you see when the plant is not able to take enough boron which is required by it, and these are the symptoms if iron is not taken up by the plant. And please remember that though iron is a micronutrient, it is most required, not least, it is the most required micronutrient of all these which I have mentioned over here. Iron would be required in much greater quantities because it is part of those components which are very crucial for various metabolic processes. Next we are going to deal with these individually, but for now you have to remember iron and boron and their important aspects that they have in the growth of plant body. Thank you.